You know how it is, right? Sometimes you're stuck waiting, maybe at the DMV or something, and every single second just drags. It feels like forever.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like watching paint dry, but slower.
Exactly. But then maybe you're, I don't know, completely lost in a great book or just having an amazing time with friends.
And boom, hours have just vanished. Like, where did the afternoon go?
Right. You're left totally baffled. Why does time do that? How can it feel so different?
Well, it's a question people have been wrestling with for a really long time. It's not just some weird quirk you feel. Philosophers, they've been thinking deeply about this for centuries.
Yeah, and that's what we're diving into today. We found some fascinating ideas from phenomenology. That's basically the study of experience, how things seem to us.
Right, how we actually encounter the world.
And we're looking specifically at this difference between, clock time, time on your watch,
The objective tick-tock time.
versus what these thinkers call lived time, your actual subjective feeling of time passing. We've been digging into folks like Husserl, Heidegger, and Merleau-Ponty.
And their ideas about why time can feel so, well, elastic in everyday life are pretty amazing, really insightful.
Totally. The hope is, by the end of this, you'll have a much better handle on why some moments crawl and others just whoosh, fly by. Maybe a few aha moments along the way.
And what's great for you, the listener, is seeing how these sometimes abstract philosophical ideas actually connect directly to your own life, your daily experience of time.
It helps make sense of it all, doesn't it?
It really does. It helps you grasp why certain situations feel the way they do, time-wise.
Okay, so let's break it down. Clock time that seems pretty straightforward. Seconds, minutes, hours, ticking along uniformly for everyone.
Yep, measurable, objective, predictable, that's clock time.
But lived time, this phenomenological concept, that's our personal timeline, the one that feels, well, completely different depending on what's going on.
Exactly. And the key thing about live time is its flexibility, its elasticity. It doesn't follow the strict rules of the clock.
So it stretches and compresses.
Precisely. Based on all sorts of things, your attention, your emotions, how engaged you are. Merleau-Ponty even suggested something quite radical.
Oh, yeah. What's that?
He basically said that clock time, this objective thing we rely on, is actually something we create an abstraction from our more basic lived experience of time.
Wow. Okay, so live time comes first. That kind of flips the usual way of thinking, doesn't it?
It does. It suggests our feeling of time passing is more fundamental than the way we measure it.
We saw this image in some of the sources. Time devours all things. This really heavy picture.
Uh-huh, with the clock weighing someone down.
Yeah. It perfectly captures that awful, oppressive feeling of clock time when you're bored out of your mind and just watching the seconds tick by.
It's a fantastic illustration of that contrast. When you're bored, you're hyper-aware of each second, and it feels like a burden, right?
Totally. But when you're having fun, enjoying something.
You lose track completely. Clock time just sort of fades into the background. You're not conscious of it in the same way at all.
Okay, so let's dig into these thinkers. Edmund Husserl first. His focus was really on how we perceive time inside our own minds in our consciousness.
Exactly that. Husserl was fascinated by the structure of our conscious awareness as it unfolds. He pointed out that we don't just experience a single razor-thin now.
Right? It feels like more than just an instant.
Yes. Our awareness holds on to what just happened. He called that retention. And it also anticipates what's likely coming right up, which he termed protention.
Okay, that makes intuitive sense. Like listening to music. You hear the note now, but you still kind of have the echo of the last one.
And you're already leaning into the next one.
Yeah.
Exactly. You don't hear separate blips. You hear a melody flowing through time.
And all that's happening in your awareness in the present moment.
Right. Husserl called this the living present. It's not a point. It's more like a duration, a thickness created by this retention and pretension. It's what gives us our sense of continuity.
So your present moment isn't just now. It has this little bit of past and future built into it, kind of.
That's a good way to put it. It's a dynamic field, not a static point.
So how does that explain time speeding up or slowing down for us?
Well, Husserl's idea is that our subjective sense of time's pace comes from how densely packed this living present feels. When you're bored,
Nothing's happening.
right, there's not much new information coming in for consciousness to hold on to or anticipate. Each moment feels kind of empty, so you become really aware of the duration itself, and it feels slow, drawn out.
But when you're engaged, happy.
Your consciousness is full. It's constantly processing new stuff, retaining, pretending, moving forward smoothly. Time just flows along with that activity, and you don't really notice its passage as passage. It feels quick because the present is so rich.
Okay, that makes sense. The richness of the now affects its perceived speed. Let's move to Heidegger then. His take seems, I don't know, broader, more about our existence in time.
Yes, exactly. Heidegger goes for a more existential angle. He argued that we are fundamentally temporal beings. It's not just that we have time or experience time.
We are time. I think I read that somewhere.
That's the famous line, essentially. We don't just have time in a sense, we are time. Our existence, he called it Dasein, being there, is always stretched between our past, our present engagement, and our future possibilities. Time is woven into our very being.
So for Heidegger, it's much deeper than just the clock on the wall or even just mental perception.
Much deeper. He distinguishes between ordinary clock time and this fundamental temporality that's part of being alive.
Yeah.
And he had certain moods like boredom actually reveal this deeper temporality to us.
How so? What about boredom?
He saw profound boredom, not just as lack of stimulation, but as a philosophical mood where time seems to stand still. It becomes oppressive, heavy.
Yeah, that feeling where time itself feels like a weight. I get that.
Because in that state, you lack meaningful engagement. You lack a connection to your future possibilities. You're just sort of stuck, intensely aware of time passing but going nowhere.
And the opposite of that.
When you're truly absorbed in something meaningful, maybe pursuing a goal, creating something, or even in moments of deep joy, you enter what Heidegger might call authentic temporality.
And then clock time doesn't matter.
Pretty much. You lose track because your actions, your being, are aligned. You're fully projected towards the future, engaged in the present based on your past. You're living in time authentically, not just watching it tick by. That's why it feels like it flies. Your sense of purpose is key.
So for Heidegger, it's about meaningful engagement versus just waiting.
Sort of, yeah. Boredom disconnects you, leaves you adrift in a stagnant present. Authentic engagement pulls you forward, aligns you with the flow of your own life's time. It's about your whole way of being in the world.
Okay. Now, Maurice Merleau-Ponty, he brings the body into it more, right? Embodied time.
Yes, definitely. Merleau-Ponty really emphasized that our experience of time isn't just mental. It's fundamentally embodied. It's tied to our perception, our actions, our physical being in the world.
So time isn't like a container we live inside?
Not from Merleau-Ponty. He argued time is interwoven with our engagement with the world. He also made that distinction between universal time, kind of like clock time, an abstract measure,
Right.
and the concrete lived time of our actual embodied experience. And like Husserl, he thought the abstract version came from the lived one.
He had that metaphor about time being a river, didn't he? What was the point there?
Ah, yes, the river. It's a great one.
Yeah.
We often talk about the flow of time, right?
Yeah.
But Merleau-Ponty pointed out that when we picture a river flowing, we usually imagine ourselves standing on the bank, watching it go by.
It's an observer.
Exactly. But in our actual lived experience, we're not detached observers on the bank. We are in the river. We are part of the flow. That sense of time as a flow only really appears when we step back and reflect, adopting that observer stance.
So the feeling of time passing isn't something we watch. It's something we're doing, experiencing through movement.
Precisely. Think about walking somewhere, lost in thought. You don't notice time passing second by second.
Right.
But then you arrive and you realize, oh, an hour has passed. That sense of duration comes from the experience of moving, thinking, engaging. It's embodied.
Not just from glancing at a clock.
Right. Watching the second hand tick around, that's being the observer on the bank. And that often makes time feel incredibly slow and separate from us. For Merleau-Ponty, time emerges through our active bodily involvement with the world. He even said the person and time sort of create each other in experience.
Wow. And he called lived time the tempo of our engagement with life. That phrase really sticks.
That's perfect, isn't it? It
Yeah.
captures his idea beautifully. When you're synchronized with what you're doing, with the world around you, engaged, maybe happy, the tempo feels fast, natural.
Time flies.
Exactly. But when you're out of sync, bored, waiting, maybe in pain, the tempo feels slow, dragging. The clock ticks the same, but your lived tempo is completely different. It's about your rhythm with life.
These philosophical ideas really do map onto everyday stuff, like back to the DMV line.
The classic example.
You're just standing there, little stimulation, super aware of the clock, and boom, time stretches out into infinity.
Textbook lived time expansion due to boredom and lack of engagement. And yeah, studies confirm this. The more bored you feel, the slower time seems to pass. It's a real phenomenon.
Then the flip side, falling in love, maybe?
Hmm.
Totally lost in conversation, laughing, connecting.
And suddenly it's dark outside, and you have no idea where the last 5 hours went.
Exactly. Your attention is just completely absorbed. You're living it, not measuring it. All these thinkers would say that's live time feeling full and fast because you're so engaged.
Right, your living present is packed, you're authentically temporal, your tempo of engagement is rapid. It all points the same way.
What about something modern, like mindlessly scrolling social media? You plan to check for 5 minutes.
And an hour later, you surface wondering what happened. Yeah, that's a fascinating one.
How does that fit? Is it engagement?
It's a kind of engagement, maybe. Your mind is constantly being fed something new, even if it's shallow. Little dopamine hits, maybe. There are no empty gaps for boredom to set in.
So the flow is continuous.
Yeah, the design of those apps encourages this constant stream. It creates a sort of extended present, like Husserl talked about, where one moment just bleeds into the next without sharp distinctions. So clock time slips away unnoticed because consciousness is perpetually occupied, even if not deeply fulfilled.
So even passive consumption can make time fly, just because it keeps your attention locked.
It seems so. It highlights how much our perception of time is tied to where our attention is and how engaged we are, whether that engagement is, deep and meaningful or just continuous stimulation.
Okay, so wrapping this up. The big takeaway seems to be this crucial difference between clock time objective, steady, and our own experience, our lived time.
Which is totally flexible, subjective,
Yeah.
shaped by our minds, our bodies, how we are in the world,
It's shaped by our consciousness holding past and future, as Husserl said,
by our fundamental way of being and engaging meaningfully, like Heidegger emphasized.
and by our embodied interaction with the world, our tempo, as Merleau-Ponty put it.
Exactly. It's recognizing that your experience of now isn't just a point on a timeline, but this rich, dynamic experience you're constantly shaping.
It leaves you with a really powerful thought, actually, that we're kind of the composers of time's rhythm in our own lives. Our focus, our engagement, that sets the beat.
That's a great way to put it. Maybe reflecting on those times when time did seem to vanish. What were you doing? What truly held you? It might tell you something important.
Like Merleau-Ponty's river, figuring out when you feel most in the flow rather than just watching from the bank.
Precisely. It might reveal what makes time feel not just fast, but meaningful for you.
It really does bring new light to that old saying, time flies when you're having fun. It's not just a throwaway line.
Not at all. Phenomenology shows us the deep human roots of that experience.
Yeah.
It's tied into the very way we are conscious, the way we exist, the way we engage with life. It's fundamental.